My name's Yeany. I race for Velocity Racing Development, and I really want to make it to F1. Probably like win a championship or something, or win more championships. Yeah, that's really my ultimate goal.
Work with many great drivers, many great drivers across Europe. In all honesty, Hunter's right up there, and we have the youngest F4 champion in the world.
I really like the adrenaline of racing.
I sent him out on slicks in the rain in a go-kart, and he blew past the field. The future's bright for the young drivers at VRD.
Hello, my name's Yeany. I race for Velocity Racing Development, and those are my trophies. I met Dan at Vegas for SuperNet, and he had actually this F4 car there, and he let me sit in it for the first time, and he got to start it up, and he was like, "You ready to drive one of these?" And I was like, "Maybe." Then we were at Ocala, and he was mechanicking for me, and he put me out on slicks in the rain, and I beat another kid that was on rain tires with my slicks. I met Dan, and we started racing cars, practicing cars, about like a year prior to the race season, just so I could like learn stuff. And AMP has really been a big part of that, because like their track has like all sorts of like things you'll come across in the US Championship, because like there's uphill braking, downhill braking, like a lot of elevation change, high commitment corners. So yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Hi, I'm Dan Mitchell, co-owner of Velocity Racing Development and head of driver development with the VRD Academy and the VRD race team. I'm from a big background of racing. My granddad was a British Superbike champion in the 80s. My uncle raced Formula Ford against Mark Webber, Jenson Button. So I grew up in the racing world. Originally we were supposed to go racing, and we had a few problems early on. So I immediately changed my attention to working in the sport and using my passion to grow in the sport. I started off at a very young age in motor racing, working with drivers, Jack Harvey, Marcus Ericsson. I was there with them at 16 years old. I was at the time washing wheels and helping them out and doing what I could to get myself into the sport. I was in the UK for 10 years, working for a top team called Fortec Motorsport. I was chief engineer and team manager of many different teams out there. Worked with many great drivers, many great drivers across Europe. Decided to come here and focus my attention on finding some young Americans to take to Europe and hopefully become Formula One drivers one day. I first came here in 2017 to engineer a car, just on a whim. I got a call, "Hey, we need an engineer, can you come out to Miami and do it?" Of course, you want to come to Miami and engineer a car? No problem. So came over here, looked after a driver called Kyle Kirkwood for a 2-day test down at Homestead, Miami. And at that moment, I saw a huge void for young drivers. There wasn't many young drivers on the grid. All the champions up until now have all been 18, 19, 20 years old. And for me, that's too old starting off in Formula racing. You're already a step behind the Europeans before they've even got into a car. So my aim was to come over here and change that, and try and change the philosophy to allow young Americans to be able to develop and be able to get better, so they can compete with the Europeans at a much younger age. In all honesty, Hunter's right up there. I sent him out on slicks in the rain in a go-kart, and he blew past the field. A lot of the kids stayed in their tent. He went out on the dry tires and slipped and slided across the track, and he blew the field away. And at that point, I realized the kid had a lot of talent. That was the day I realized I could actually do something with this kid, and it was just about figuring out how to use the talent he had in the right way. First thing we did, we got a membership at Atlanta Motorsport Park, bought a couple of F4 cars, and we came up here and we practiced. We practiced in the rain, we practiced in the cold, we practiced in the sun, we practiced in every condition to allow him to be where he is right now. It's a really technical track. It's very technical and it's very physical. So drivers, if they can do a 30-minute session here, will be able to do a 30-minute session across the US. There's not really a straight way to rest. You're always turning, you're always doing something, you're always thinking. You're always approaching a brake zone, you're always approaching a turning point. So it's very tough. The go-kart track's fantastic. This year we used the go-kart track for Hunter and Eric, and we actually practiced racecraft, myself, Hunter and Eric, and we used it as a training ground to practice racecraft, wheel-to-wheel action, to make them better through the summer. And actually, there's been times where Hunter's won a race from 9th. More recently, Eric started 9th at Coda and finished 3rd. And I think the racecraft we managed to practice here, the accessibility of the track, has allowed us to develop and allowed the drivers to get better and better. Now all of a sudden we have the youngest F4 champion in the world. So one of my achievements has already been ticked off, bring young drivers up and get them winning. He's won. We anticipate him to be the youngest ever F4 FR champion next season. And he's also been invited out by some big teams to Europe in the next 2 months to test with them over in Europe. So the future's bright for the young drivers at VRD.
So at Sebring I won all 3, and then at VIR I think we got 2 out of the 3 wins. Hopefully I can race, actually I am going to race this bad boy next season. I really like that car. It's kind of weird jumping from like F4 to F3. It's just a big driving difference. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I really like the adrenaline of racing because it's always like big push. Like there's not really time to like mess around because you're supposed to always be learning something. And if you don't learn, then then it's basically a waste of a day or a waste of a session. I really want to make it to F1 and like probably win a championship or something, or win more championships. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, that's really my ultimate goal. Also, I'd like to thank the maintenance staff all the way up to Jeremy, just because they've all played their part on getting me on track and getting me all these track days, so thank you to them.